Whenever I eat a mango, I always wonder why the pit is so thick. So one day I decided to cut into it to see if there was anything inside. And when I found this thing, I realized that I could take it, wrap it in a paper towel, wait a few months, and then grow my own mango tree. And I wanted to see if I could actually grow my own mangoes in my backyard. I just wasn't sure how long it would actually take. But since then, it's been 4 years, and I now have the answer to that question. First things first, 1,400 days ago, I got my hands on my first mango. Scooped out the pit, removed the fruit surrounding it, washed it off with some water, and I decided to give it a bath. A little shampoo, a little conditioner, a little spa day with a jade roller, brushed the hair a little, and then it was ready to grow. I took my knife and found the opening on the husk, made a little slit, and then ripped it open to reveal the inner seed. I removed the seed and peeled off the darker layer of skin off of the seed, got it on a piece of damp saran wrap. Usually I use paper towel, but here I decided to use saran wrap because I thought it might work better. Then I placed it in an airtight bag and waited 4 whole weeks. It takes a lot of patience to grow mangoes. But before I knew it, the weeks passed, I went to check on it and saw that it grew a little curly tail. Our mango had a little pig's tail. And after 3 more weeks passed, the seed started to turn green, almost looking like a leaf, and the tail started to get longer. I got a little worried though that the tail was getting kind of dark, almost to the point of being black and dead. But I just trusted the process, and soon I saw that more growth started to pop out of different parts of the bottom of the seed, and it was very much alive and still growing. As it got bigger, I peeled off the pieces that looked too dark and dead and tried to go with the flow of this mango seed. And it's a good thing that I did because the mango kept growing. Apparently, it was growing into a little dragon face. No, seriously, it looks like a little dragon. But while that continued to grow, I did start to get slightly nervous that it would die. I wasn't sure what was gonna happen, so I decided to get another mango and grow a second seed just in case something happened to this one. We needed options, and I really wanted it to turn into this mango tree right here eventually. So I cut mango number 2 open, removed all the fruit, and when I got the pit in my hands, my favorite part came. No, not the bath this time. I found the opening in the husk and ripped it open to reveal the inner seed. Cut the umbilical cord, if you know what I mean, and then finally our seed was ready to germinate. I thought the saran wrap worked pretty well last time, so this time I decided to wrap it again in a piece of damp saran wrap, and I left it for 4 weeks. When I went to check on it, our mango had a long tail growing out the bum, and as the weeks continued to pass, I continued to check on it, and the seed started to turn green, which is what eventually turns into leaves of the plant. But the tail was turning dark in color again, like the last mango, and I was really hoping more growth would happen anyway because I saw this little thing poking out of the middle of the seed, and to my surprise, it did, because in just a few more weeks, the seed started to look like this, growing little shoots out of the little stem, and I was really excited. Mangoes are a tropical fruit, so to grow them in Canada is actually really difficult because they are very prone to dying very quickly. I really wasn't sure what would happen with this mango, so I just left it in the saran wrap, germinating for another 4 weeks. And when I went to check on it, we had a problem because it looked like it was dying. I mean, the stem that grew out of the seed was still very much alive, but the actual mango seed was molding over and completely black. So I took matters into my own hands and decided that if we don't plant this in soil now, it will definitely not live to grow more mangoes in my backyard. So I planted it in soil, and the only thing that I could do in that moment was wait. But I got really nervous that it was instead going to die. And I really wanted this to work. If you know me, then you know that I was very determined to get this right. So just in case, I decided to get one of my favorite varieties of mango, the Atalfo mango. mango and try growing this one into a mango tree too. I thought to myself that these mangoes are smaller, which means the seeds are smaller, and maybe the seed will have an easier time growing into a bigger plant if the seed is smaller. So you know the drill, mango number 3. No, I didn't give it a bath this time either. I should have though, but I scooped the fruit out, ripped open the husk, removed the seed, wrapped it up in some saran wrap, got it wet underwater, and then sealed it in a bag and waited 4 weeks. And to my surprise, the seed started to grow quickly. Apparently, it looked like a very tasty treat to Raffi. But week after week, the little tails started to grow bigger and bigger until it looked something like this. And honestly, it was definitely the best seed that we ever grew out of the 3 mangoes so far. And I was really excited because it looked so amazing. And I was like, okay, only 3 more years until we have our mango tree. But at that moment in time, I guess I made the executive decision that it was time to plant it in soil to see if we could finally have some success in growing our mango tree into a real tree. So, as I waited for this plant to grow, I love mangoes. I always eat mangoes, and I had these mangoes at home, and I began to realize that I couldn't eat mangoes without growing all of the seeds into a mango plant. I just couldn't throw them out. My heart would not let me. And so this time I had 4 mangoes, and I knew I couldn't throw the seeds out, so I removed all the seeds. I also learned this new way of cutting mangoes that is now my new favorite. You just cut it into little squares, and you can peel the squares right out of the mango and eat it just like this. It's very fun. Not gonna lie, I had a lot of fun ripping all of these husks open. It's probably also one of my favorite parts about growing mangoes, revealing that little hidden seed inside. But once I had all my seeds removed from the mangoes, I got them wrapped up in some saran wrap, and I even tried placing one in water to see if it would propagate that way. But soon our mangoes started to grow, and they looked something like this. I think I just love watching seeds germinate, whether or not they are successful in growing into a real plant and then an eventual tree. I just think it's so cool that you can grow little tails out of any seed. But anywho, the seed in the water died. Sorry to disappoint, but after 12 weeks passed and my mango seeds were sitting in that saran wrap in the bag, somehow they turned out like this. And I have no idea why this happened, but it did. And they didn't survive the journey from seed to plant. So listen, as I wait for my first 3 mango trees to continue growing and then the last 4 that I grew that died, it's proof in the plants that growing seeds is all trial and error. You never know what will or won't work. But since I failed so many times, I decided to go to Mexico to find mango trees myself and pick one straight from the tree and eat it, which by the way was the best moment ever. And listen, when I get back, I'll check on all of my mangoes, but you already know that I am never giving up.
Wow, that's a mango.